Hey guys, welcome to coaching session number 3. It's hard to believe we're actually already at number 3. And like I said, this is going to be going probably more likely that it'll be going to 8 sessions total. It's possible that I can get it down to 7, but I'd rather do 8 and just make sure everybody is cool with everything that I've delivered. Even if number 8 is only like a Q&A type of coaching call, not so much a training call. And a lot of times those end up being even more educational than just like a boring slideshow that I've put together. So more than likely it's going to be going to 8 sessions. I just want to make sure everybody is really comfortable with everything that I've laid out and not really stuck anywhere. So let me get everything set up here as far as the chat and Q&A goes. Again, if you've got questions, put them in the Q&A box, which is different from the chat box. That way I don't miss anything at the end here. And we've got, tons of stuff to get through today. And I am really going to try and keep it to 2 hours. And I'll explain a little bit more about what we're going to be covering here in a second. But I just want to let some more people jump on. I know it's here in the States, it's a holiday week, holiday weekend kind of. So, everybody's kind of off doing their own thing, vacations and whatnot. So not expecting a whole lot of people, but just want to make sure everybody that wants to get on and attend live can do that before we get started, because I have a few warnings, I guess you could say, up front that I want to make sure everybody sees. Hey Darren, what's up? 2 a.m. there, man. I appreciate you being on here live. That's dedication. Cool. All right, guys, let's get going. We got a bunch of people on here now. So today's session is all about using the research that you've gathered over the past 2 weeks and pulling from that and filling in the blanks to create your really the bare bones structure of your 3-page website. And for a lot of you, the 3-page website is the bare bones, the fill in the blank bare bones template that you're going to be learning about today and getting access to today is going to be enough to get you going. You don't need to expand any further than what I'm giving you. And I'll show you here. I'm actually going to show you a couple examples. One, which is the domain flippingmadeeasy.com. It's the site that I kind of just set up after the fact and thought it would be a good idea just to set something up to build alongside of the coaching program, so you guys can see really how I would do it step by step. And I've also have another example of something I wrote probably 4 or 5 years ago, a 3-page site, and it doesn't follow this template really, but it does have a lot of the same psychology and persuasion stuff in there. It's just mixed and matched in different areas. So I'm going to show you that one here later on as well. So let's get going. A couple warnings first here. Following training includes powerful sales persuasion techniques. Do not use what you're about to learn to deceptively manipulate your readers. Please do not abuse your power. Instead, use this knowledge to help your readers solve their problems and achieve their goals. I really wanted to put this in here, not to like add flair to anything, but to seriously make you understand the power of what I'm giving you. And you can literally go through and copy and paste things into this template and it will work. I've done it in a number of different niches where I've gone through the same process, put it up online, and it just works without really having to do anything else. And this warning is really more about having people's best interests in mind, and that's really it. Second thing, and this one is really more important than the first one. This one, it's really the first time that I'm teaching this stuff and sharing the stuff I've been doing really the last, probably since about 2012 is when I really first started taking a lot of what I was learning and applied it to affiliate marketing, because a lot of what I learned came from outside of affiliate marketing. People don't teach this stuff to affiliate marketers. When you look at affiliate marketing courses, it really, most of them, I'm not going to say all of them because there are a couple guys out there who teach similar things, but they're nowhere near as in-depth as what I'm about to share with you today. It's more so bird's eye view, I guess you could say, of what I'm going to be teaching today. But a lot of the courses for affiliates are always geared towards a traffic source and not so much a long-term business, because traffic sources come and go. What works today, say on Facebook, may not work tomorrow, even on Facebook. Honestly, stuff changes so fast. So, really what this whole entire coaching program is about building a long-term asset. And that really has come from me learning about digital businesses, online businesses, and even really just information businesses. A lot of offline guys, people doing physical newsletters, guys like Agora. I've been studying Agora publishing for years. I'm just fascinated with their business model, the marketing that they use, and up until really the last year or two, they never really shared much of any of that. And I think about 2016 was the first time I really ever had anybody from Agora, share any of their, quote unquote insider details with me. And since then they've come out and released a few products, partnered kind of with Todd Brown with MFA. But a lot of what they do is based around paid traffic, but it's still a long-term asset, and it can be applied to affiliate marketing. It's really just about the product that you're promoting, and it really is a culmination of a lot of different places that I've pulled information from over the last 10 years and applied it directly to affiliate marketing. So just kind of a warning to keep this information to yourself, use it for yourself, and just don't do stupid stuff and share it with whatever, a black hat forum or whatever. I mean, I know you guys, if you've paid the money to be in this coaching, you're not in any of that stuff. So just wanted to put that out there. I wanted to kind of put it inside of this coaching video just so that it's kind of documented as well. So, all right, let's get going. We got a lot of stuff to get through. So the first part of really understanding this template and the 3-page site is understanding the psychology behind a high converting landing page. And the image that you're seeing on the screen is really what I call a squeeze page. Some people call it lead capture page, landing page, whatever. And squeeze pages really only have one goal. It's to get somebody's email address. There's no navigation besides the legal links at the bottom. There's no, nothing to scroll. Everything is right there on above the fold as soon as you land on it. But again, as we go through this today, you're going to see things that I've pulled from just different things that have worked from different areas of online business and applied it to what I'm teaching you. This one in particular, the 6 elements of high converting landing pages I pulled from Justin Brook, who runs adskills.com. And these 6 elements were pulled straight from one of his trainings. You know, it's stuff that I've followed for years. So, and I guess I should have put the numbers next to these, but so identity, and these are the things, before I get into this, these are the things that you should have on your 3-page website that lead to high conversions. You don't have to have them on every single page. And we've already talked about some of this. Week 1, I did kind of an overview, and I talked about some of the things that you're going to see here in a second. But you need to have them somewhere on the website. So number 1 is the identity, which is, could be a logo, could just be your business name, contact details like address, phone, email, privacy policy. Again, all of these things together are what lead to the high conversions. It's not something where you can pick 1 or 2 things. You really want to have 5, 6 if possible, which you're going to see here in a second. 6 may not be feasible for you, especially as an affiliate, but I'll cover that in a second. So number 2 is credibility, which can be like as seen on, related authority websites, trust logos. So in that image, you see at the top some websites that we've been featured in for our gardening business, my dad and I's gardening business. We've been featured in all of those things, as far as, even if it's just a backlink on some of them. So if you've got that, great. If not, as an affiliate, if the, if you're talking about like the keto diet, you can say the keto diet was recently featured on abc.com in an article about the top 3 diets to lose weight, or whatever. Those are ways to add credibility to what you're doing. And as we go through this template, I'll give you examples of what to use. Number 3 is relevance, which is huge. It really just comes down to the copy that you have really prominent on the page, which, is typically always the headline, because it's the first thing that people usually see or read. It just needs to be related to the market itself, and preferably the very, very narrow avatar that you've chosen. And some of it just comes down to connecting the dots and staying congruent from the ad network. So, depending on where you're getting traffic from, going back to the email that I sent to promote this coaching program, one of the examples that I gave was using a billboard on the side of the road to promote your website. And these businesses should stand alone and work and be able to make money, even if the only thing you could do was put a domain name on a billboard. So like a huge billboard on the side of the road, black background, white text, and it only said domain flipping madeeasy.com. If somebody saw that billboard, remembered the domain, preferably I'd like the domain to be a little bit shorter than 4 words. I usually like 2 or 3, but 4 isn't that big of a deal. If somebody went to that domain, that pretty much targets them or qualifies them as somebody who's interested in flipping domains for profit. It's pretty obvious what they're going to see when they get there. You don't want to be sending people to this website who aren't qualified. And qualifying traffic, I'll talk more about how to qualify the visitors that come to your site when we get to the traffic sessions, but it's kind of a preview of how to think about that when you're going forward. Relevance is huge, and that's definitely a requirement. Same with identity. And credibility can be one of the ones that you are possibly leaving out. Number 4, social proof, which can be testimonials or stuff like a download counter, or if you've ever seen the pop-ups on like the bottom left side of a screen that say like so and so just opted in or so and so just purchased, those can be considered social proof as well. And this is another one this one's actually pretty easy to add in as an affiliate, because you can just say something along the lines of over 10,000 people have used this product or purchased this or followed this diet plan. And that's a pretty easy way to add social proof. Again, this is just a high level overview of the 6 elements. As we continue today, I'm going to go like deep dive into the whole entire template step by step. Just kind of, this is just really a preview to the things that you really want on the site and where they are on the site. How early or how late doesn't really matter. Relevance is really the only thing that matters to have on the first page, wherever you're sending the traffic to, that way that people know they're at the right site and don't leave. Number 5 is urgency. So some kind of a warning or a limited availability, or say it's ending soon, and you can see number 5 on this image here is actually this blue headline that I really added this in after the fact, because I went back to Justin's 6 elements, his document on 6 elements, and I noticed I didn't have any kind of urgency on this page. So I added this blue headline in after the fact. So, very, very like markety-ish. Greedy corporate growers want this controversial video banned from the internet. And that just kind of implies that the video won't be up forever, so watch it now. And urgency is kind of a tough one to add in if you're not the product owner. And the way that I always recommend adding urgency is reminding the prospect what they're missing out on every single day by not taking action. And what I mean by that is, let's say you're in the weight loss industry. What are they missing out on by waiting to purchase or waiting to opt into your list to learn more about this diet plan? They're missing out on potential weight loss every single day, steps. They're moving every single day that they're not taking part in this diet plan. They're missing out on a potentially better life, really, is what it comes down to. And that's really the easiest way to add urgency as an affiliate. Last thing, number 6, is usability, which is really just about being able to understand what you want them to do on the page. So button color, easy to identify, action steps. So make sure that they know what you want them to do. If it's get to opt in, or click the link at the bottom that says continue to the next page, just make sure that stuff's easy. Make sure it looks good on every device. So, mobile and tablet. Because if you're doing stuff on Facebook, 80-90% of Facebook's traffic is mobile devices. So you want to make sure that your site looks good on mobile devices. Cool. So that is the six elements of a high converting landing page. And we're going to really take that kind of a broad overview, take that and really pull it apart and use it going forward in this template. So initially, the way that I came up with this template was, different from what most people teach. When you do affiliate marketing, it's typically going out and looking at what other people are doing, right? You want to make sure that you're following the same steps they're taking because they're making money, so you want to do the same thing. But what happens when you follow that approach is you're really just replicating stuff that's already out there. You don't know why what they're doing is working, which you're assuming that it's working. You're not really even thinking a whole lot about the visitor that's on the site. So the way that I kind of think about this when I go about starting one of these new businesses, and this is aside from like native ads where you're really just using a one-page pre-sale to get people to go from the ad to your landing page to an offer. This is totally different. This is about building a business long-term, an email list. It's not about like getting a quick sale and hoping they convert, or getting the clicks and hoping they convert. And if not, then you choose a different way to drive traffic. This is about looking at it from the person's perspective and thinking about the problems that they have and doing everything in your power to keep them on your website. And the way that I do that is just kind of put yourself in their shoes and imagine yourself clicking an ad from somewhere like Facebook. And, when I land on the site, what is going to make me stay on that site and continue reading all the way to the end, or continue watching something all the way to the end and then take the next action? So over the next 6 slides, I'm going to just kind of go through my thought process of what makes visitors or readers bounce. And what bounce means is just basically land on your site and then leave without taking another action. So the first thing was, obviously, they smell a sales pitch coming on. People don't like to be sold to. That's pretty obvious, unless you're in like the internet marketing niche or like an opportunity niche where you hope to find new opportunities. That is different than like the weight loss, and weight loss is a little different as well, but kind of like the opportunity. But so niches like diabetes and stuff like that, they don't want to be sold to. So that's number one. That's part one of why somebody bounces. So the next couple things I'm going to share are how to avoid making your site just immediately seem like a sales pitch. First thing, obviously, include non-threatening language, avoid salesy language and claims and guarantees. And it's really just about being seen as a trusted advisor. Include intriguing content and stories when possible. So, a lot of what I'm sharing here up front are like the why behind why the template works so well. So, you don't feel like you have to understand everything I'm saying here initially and take it and turn it into your own words on the site. If you just follow the template I'm giving you here at the end today, you're fine, because this template is pulled from kind of what you can call a quote unquote average of my sites and the layouts of the sites and the components on each page, and what works best, what gets people to land on page 1, click through to page 2, click through to page 3, opt in or buy. That's what the template is designed around. But I really wanted to be able to explain to you why it works so well. So that's what I'm teaching here up front. So part 2, people would bounce because they're just unsure how to navigate the site to find what they need. I think it was Joe Sugarman who says it should be like a slippery slope, where the headline has one job, and that job is to get them to read the second line of the page, and the second line has one job, that's to get them to read the third line. Once they've started down that slope, it's tough to just say, I'm done. You've got one chance to capture their attention. So, consider it a slippery slope where you want to capture their attention and make it intriguing and curious enough to where they continue reading. And just do it one step at a time. You don't need to jump out of the gate with sales messages to where they're just immediately their guard is put up. You want to pull them in and just get them to read one line at a time. And then some operational stuff. Make sure your page load speeds are good. I'll cover more, more operational type stuff when we cover the website setup. But that's another thing. Obviously, if your page is loading too slow, they're not going to stick around. And last, make sure your site is good, looks good across all screens. Part 3, it's just not what they expected, which really is just about being relevant. So make sure your site, like I said, is very specific to one narrow avatar. And as soon as they land on that page, relevance should just jump off the page like, oh, okay, this is perfect, exactly what I was looking for. Don't use generic domain names that can be used for really anything. Keep it very hyper targeted. So basically, that's what I just said. Kind of the byproduct of hyper focusing your site around a very specific topic is it makes you look like an expert because your entire site is just about this one thing. It's just kind of the byproduct of narrowing way in on one topic. And when possible, like I said, use your ads to pre-qualify visitors. That way, without a doubt, if somebody clicks your ad, they're already qualified to be on your site, and your site's going to be totally relevant to them. And talk more about that in the coming weeks when I cover traffic. So number 4, another reason that they could possibly bounce is they just don't believe that it'll work for them, whether it's a business opportunity, a weight loss plan, a diabetes plan, a solar power system, anything. They have to believe that your solution will work for them. So a way to kind of combat that is to, out of the gate, make a list of common objections, which obviously you've already got that data from doing your forum research. And if you did any of the other research, you've already got all this data. And as you're going to see here in a little bit, you're just going to be pulling straight from those notepad files and really just pasting it into the different areas of the template. So this is actually one thing, I'll pause right here for a second. This is one thing that I got from Joe Schrieffer, who is one of the publishers for Agora Financial. He takes brand new people who really just want to write copy and makes them copywriters without really any kind of training, no previous experience. And he released a product a while ago, called Copy Camp or something, and it was amazing, just insane. I actually saw him on stage at Todd Brown's MFA Live back in 2016, and he went through this entire speech. He brought these huge, kind of 3 foot by 3 foot wide Post-it notes, and they had 20 of them. And he came up to the stage and said, if I were to sell you I honestly don't remember the product that he said, but let's just say if I were to sell you a weight loss product, they actually do health stuff now, but back then they didn't. He's a financial guy. But if I were to sell you a weight loss product, what are some of the objections you would have? And he actually went out to the audience. This was, probably 600-700 people in the audience, and people raising their hands and just coming up with objections, I can't do that kind of exercise. So they would stop. Somebody would write, I can't do that kind of exercise on the Post-it note. And that person would come up from the audience and stand on stage holding that Post-it note. By the time, 20, 30 minutes was up, there were 20 or 25 people up on the stage holding these big Post-it notes with all these objections. And he said, right there, what you're looking at is a sideways version of our sales page. Each one of those Post-it notes would be a bulleted, or no, I'm sorry, not a bulleted, a sub headline in our sales page. So he would take the first one was, I can't do those kind of exercises. He would take that and turn it into a sub headline like, simple exercises anybody can do no matter your age. And then they would talk about it. So by the time you got to the bottom of the sales ladder, every single one of the most common objections are answered. And that kind of like blew me away because I'd never really broke down a sales page like that, but it's a perfect way to slowly work the person from, I don't know if this is going to work for me, to like completely sold on it. Because by the time they get to the end of those objections, they're completely sold. That there very few people are going to have any other objections than those. I'm not saying you need to have 20 to 25 objections in a 3-page website, but you know, you've already got those common objections that you pull from forum research. Work those into the 3 pages any way that you can. You will be working them in anyways because you're going to be pulling things to use for the template. But anywhere that you can even add more, add another explanation of an objection, and why they don't need to worry about that or how this is different, is only going to be that much more beneficial and going to get you that much more of a conversion rate. So address every objection and somewhere on the site. That one is huge, guys, and I'm going to come back and talk more about that once we get into the different pieces of this template. But that's one to make a note of. Part 5, they don't believe in themselves. So last one, they don't believe that your solution will work for them. This one is they don't believe that they themselves can make the solution work for them. Getting somebody to believe in themselves is a very tough thing to do. And I've studied this again a lot. Back in 2014, maybe 13, maybe even before that, I don't remember. Me and my dad went to Dan Kennedy's Opportunity Concepts marketing or training. It was like a 2 or 3 day event. And it was all about selling opportunities because in the gardening industry, that's really what our product is. It's a business opportunity geared towards gardeners. So obviously we were all over that. It was probably a $4,000 or $5,000 event, but it was worth it. I mean, he gave every single step to how to deal with objections and opportunities, how to pull somebody's beliefs in themselves, and then turn that belief into your product. So the only thing that somebody has to believe in is your product. And really the way that I do that is a little bit different than some people, but it's all already part of the template. But again, I want to kind of break down this stuff ahead of time just so you know a little bit about why each one of these things in the template works and really where I pulled this stuff from, because I don't want you guys to feel like I invented all of this stuff. I'm just not that smart. Like I just study very specific topics that I'm interested in, and I pull out the best pieces of those things and things that I can use in affiliate marketing, and I kind of just jumble it all together in a way that it's the best of everything in one place. So somebody not believing in themselves, let's say in the weight loss industry, they don't believe that they have the willpower to work out or diet or do the exercises that need to be done or eat the things that you're asking them to eat. Those are very tough beliefs to overcome. And there are very, very specific ways to combat those things. And somebody else that I learned a long time ago, Perry Belcher, who was Ryan Dice's partner in digitalmarketer.com, he had an event all about selling. I'm trying to remember the name of it. I think it's just something selling system, but if you just look up Perry Belcher's selling system, you'll probably find a page where you can buy that if you're interested. But one of his, the biggest things I took away from that entire training was if you can get your sales message down to where the person only has to believe one thing, you'll be able to sell as much as you ever want to sell. And it's a very hard thing to do, to get somebody to only have to believe one thing, meaning they don't have to believe that they can do the exercises. They don't have to believe that they can follow the diet plan. They don't have to believe that they can get themselves to the gym. That the only thing they have to believe in is usually the answer to is a coach or a person or a some kind of a system or something like that, where they can put all of that belief into one thing. That's really the way that you get around it. So the way that you can kind of combat some of this stuff is just make a list of everything the prospect must believe before they will buy. Like I said, in the weight loss, there's a number of different things. The way that you can get around that is just telling them that those things don't matter, and it's just about following the program. It's literally a step-by-step thing. And really, when you really step back and think about what you're watching right now, what you're listening to right now, that's how this was sold. It was sold as a opportunity. You only had to believe in the opportunity or believe in me, one or the other, and it was an easy sell. And I'm not saying that to like make you feel like I deceived you in any way, just sharing how you can persuade somebody to really push themselves further than they've been pushed before. And that's only for their own good. It's not to manipulate them in some way or deceive them in any way. It's just to get them to finally make a difference in their lives. So that's really what I learned from Perry's training and how I applied that to this. Next is really just address each belief somewhere on your site. And that's really about, part of it is going to be eliminating other options, as well as talking about the benefits of your solution. So, in the weight loss thing, if they feel like one of the things that they have to believe in themselves for is being able to go to the gym, then you're not going to be able to sell them on a program where you're selling 8 weeks of trainings you can do in the gym, because they're just not going to believe that they'll ever be able to have the discipline to get themselves there whenever you're telling them to be there. You've really got to change it to just focus more on this system is different and that it will work for you because this, and this. The last thing is a lack of trust in you. So you being the person selling the product or the affiliate, the person who owns the website. If they've read through page 1, they've clicked at the bottom to go to page 2, and you get them into page 3. Once somebody has gone that far and they're on page 3 of a 3-page site, conversion rates from just page 3. So I'm talking about, if 100 people land on page 3, it's not unusual to convert 80 to 90% of them, because they've already taken so many steps to get to that point. They've done the micro commitments of clicking the links. They've read, they've kind of agreed to different things in their mind. Once they've got to page 3, it's a very, very high conversion rate. But that 10 to 20% that don't opt in, this could be the main reason, and that's just a lack of trust in you. So a few things that you can do to help that. Like I said before, include any kind of as seen on things, news clippings, trust logos, something to add more authority and credibility. And as you'll see here later on today, we give you a couple different ways to do that as an affiliate, even if you've got nothing yourself. It's very easy to kind of manufacture authority and credibility. Next, social proof. There's a lot of different ways to add social proof. If you're doing success stories or case studies, that's the simplest way, which is the domain flipping made easy. When I came up with that idea to just use the domain flipping made easy, I don't remember immediately where I got the idea, but within 10 minutes, I already knew exactly the angle I was going to take. I found somebody with a quick Google search that was like their first time ever trying it, and they bought a $1 domain name and sold it in 3 days for $700. That's the easiest way to do social proof. Testimonials, so that can be, things like pull things from different products, and well, I'm going to talk about what to do on how to pick case studies and testimonials and whatnot here in a little bit. I think this is the last social proof thing, is if you can include any kind of like recent, like real-time activity on your website, that will really overcome your trust. Like seriously, I started using Proof, which is the website is useproof.com, and I know that you guys have seen it because I use it on all my stuff. But let's see. Wait. So this right here is Proof. So this conversion happened 2 days ago. I must have set this up wrong because it's showing stuff from 2 days ago. I know that we've sold these products since then, but that's the quickest way to add social proof, because it's literally like this dude purchased this 3 days ago and it's verified by this company. If you click that box, it actually goes to where it goes, actually, Proof's website. Yeah. So backyardgrowers.com is verified by Proof. Awesome. And you can also do, like Proof does a lot of different things. So like if you don't have any conversions yet, one of them you can do is, well, they changed this big time. Let's see. One of them you can do is like 28 people viewing this site right now. And that, it's not that big of a proof thing to us marketers, but to other people, it's like, oh, cool, there are other people on here, they're interested in it. And, as a human being, it's just like natural. It's natural to want to do other things that other people are doing too. And you, before you make a decision that you're unsure of, you want to see that someone else has already done it. Somebody else like you has already done it. So useproof.com, it is pricey. There is an alternative, and let's see if I can remember the name of it. I think it's this. Yeah, so this is an alternative to Proof. I will say I am an affiliate for this company because it is, it's a one-time payment. Proof is a monthly payment. But I will say that I used to use this on our sites, and it is very inconsistent. I don't know why. Sometimes it would load, sometimes it wouldn't. When it did load and it was displaying conversions from like days and days ago. Maybe they fixed it since then. This has been probably a year or two. But that's another option if you're, not willing to do the monthly thing with Proof. And it's not a necessity either way. You don't feel like you have to have something like this. Just doing one of these first three things is plenty and good enough. Another way to add trust, obviously, just make sure you've got all of the standard business things that make people feel comfortable, like they're not, they know who they're dealing with. The things like the logo, phone address, email. If you got a contact page instead of email address, that's good too. Legal pages. There are like trust logos as well. So, the things like, verified by McAfee or Norton or Better Business Bureau logos, badges, and whatnot. Those things are they don't add a whole lot, but like unconsciously in the mind of somebody who lands on a page and they see a Better Business logo that says AAA rating, it like unconsciously it makes them feel at ease. They don't realize it, but they've just come to know that when they see that, they can just be a little bit more at ease. All right. So now we're going to get into the template, and I am going to try and go through this to get done by the 2-hour mark. But don't feel like you have to grasp everything that I'm saying today and understand it completely. That it's just not necessary. I'm putting this all in here and explaining it all so that in the recording you have access to this. You can go back to it as many times as you want, rewind, fast forward, pause, and really get to understand it. If you're on this live, on the coaching call live, you're probably going to feel overwhelmed because I'm going through 3 pages worth of buyer psychology. I am going to explain each section of it. I'm going to give you what I call a formula, which is basically a fill in a blank section or a fill in a blank template for each section of this entire template. And I'm going to give you an example of what that formula would look like if you were using it in a niche. So you probably are going to feel overwhelmed. So I'm just kind of letting you know that ahead of time. Next, a little bit of a disclaimer. This template is not the end all be all, make it or break it solution. You can move stuff around. I really encourage you to ad lib, interject your own personality in there. Even if you're using like a pen name or whatever, you don't need to use your real identity. A little bit about that, like pen names and stuff. The original founder of Agora Publishing is actually named Mark Ford, but he used the pen name Michael Masterson. And, I don't know why he did it. A lot of people use pen names. A lot of very famous authors are using pen names. And it's more so just about privacy for your name. It's not in any way to manipulate or deceive. It's just a privacy thing. So don't feel like you've got to use your own identity. But that doesn't mean you can't interject your own personality. Even if people don't know really who you are, you can still ad lib and stuff like that. Don't feel like because I've given you this template that's all you can use and all you should use. I really prefer that you didn't. And I'll show you why as we go through this, because if you leave it as is, it will work. I'm not saying it won't work. It will work, but it'll be a bit clunky. So here we go. So first I'm going to go through the 3 pages and just kind of break it down a little bit at a time. So page 1, the first thing is the navigation, and I'm going to use this site as the example. So this navigation, and people have asked me like, hey, do I really need to put terms and conditions and privacy policy and all this crap up here, or can I just put it like way down here at the bottom? You absolutely can put it at the bottom, but understand that the reason that it's up here is it gives people a sense of control, and that sense of control is very important. When somebody lands on a page, this goes back to entering like the mindset of somebody coming to your site and not just like copying off of what I'm doing. You really want to think about your target or your avatar and your prospect and put yourself in their shoes. When somebody lands on that site, If they've got no navigation and it looks like a sales page and it smells like a sales page, they're going to think it's a sales page and leave. They're not ever going to make it down to the bottom and realize there's nothing to buy here. Not a lot of sales pages have navigation or a phone number or an address for a business, and obviously no place to buy anything. It's unique. That uniqueness is what keeps people on the page, as well, obviously, as the relevance. So uniqueness, which is your logo. Specificity is huge, which I've talked about already, which is making sure that your site, the entire site, is focused on a very specific topic. The identity. Again, remember, this goes back to the stuff I've covered earlier today. I covered that for a reason. It's because it's all part of this and it's weaved in different areas. You want to make sure the identity is there, the logo, phone, about, contact. I'll go back to show you here. I added this at the top. You don't have to if you don't want to. I do recommend having a phone number, and for personally, you can use a Google Voice. Just go to voice.google.com, get a free one, make sure it's your local area. I'm in Austin, so 512 is an Austin number. And it would match up with my address here, which is my home address. But you can use a PO box, you can do a virtual thing, whatever. I prefer having this up here for a couple reasons. It puts people at ease initially, like, oh cool, there's a phone. Again, when I'm like talking as the person visiting the site, it's in an unconscious way. Oh cool, there's a phone number here. I can, it's a real company. It's a local number. They may not know it's local because I'm in Austin. They could be in United Kingdom, whatever. Either way, it's a phone number. People don't put phone numbers on websites unless they're a real business. And it's people overlook this, and especially affiliates. Affiliates, like, what affiliate puts a phone number on a website? Nobody. Not even one have I ever seen put a phone number on their website. This is there on purpose. It's there to make people feel at ease. It gives my site identity. It makes me stand out from everyone else. So the about page, contact page, they're here. We'll talk more about these pages when we get to the site, building the site, but just having them there is good. You don't have to have them up here. I do recommend at least these three having above the fold of the page somewhere. So above the fold means above this line right here at the bottom of my screen. So I can see it. As soon as I land on the page, I can see it without scrolling. Something to keep in mind is on a mobile device, that fold is very, very small. It's going to be probably in one of these two lines are going to be the fold on, let's say, an iPhone, whatever the latest one is. Next, relevance, the headline. We've talked about that a lot. Next part is the open loop. So your open loop can be done a number of different ways. Again, guys, I'm going to be covering each one of these things as we go through this entire presentation. Right now, I'm just showing you the general layout of page one. I will be going over each individual thing. Each individual step has its own slide today in this presentation. Open loop. Over the next few pages, you're going to discover a simple way to flip domain names for profit. That is technically an open loop. It's not really a great one, but it's still a good one. It's enough. It's relevant to why they're on the page. It's enough to get them to continue reading at least into the next line. Build desire. And I'm not going to keep going back to this site. I'm going to go back to this site as we go into each one individually. So you want to continue building desire, even more desire. You want to add proof, close that first loop. So this one right here, future pacing. Again, I'm going to cover all of these things. Build more anticipation and desire. Open another loop and then make them click the link. And really, you're not going to make them click this link. These two things right here, building this anticipation and desire and opening that second loop, are going to make them click that link. You don't need to make them do it themselves. So let me take a quick break here and ask anybody, is anybody on live today that is not familiar with what an open loop means or what it is? I am going to cover it here in a little bit, but before we move any further, I just want to see. So you're not familiar with what it is. Cool. Okay. So an open loops are, this is something I learned from Andre Chaperon, who created Autoresponder Madness. An open loop is basically a cliffhanger. So if you ever watched a TV series, a couple good ones that do this, and at the end of every single episode are 24 and Lost. Even if you've never watched them, if you have Netflix or another, subscription, whatever, go back and go in there and just watch like an episode or two of Lost. I watched the entire series. It's an okay series. I more so watched it because of the writing, the script writing, and all of the ways that they open loops, closed loops. It really connects very well to like an Autoresponder Madness style email series, which we will talk a little bit about that later on in this coaching program. But understand that the open loops in this 3-page site are just about getting people to go to the next step in the site. So this first open loop is just to get people to go to the next step, which is continue reading. That's it. There's no micro commitment other than to get them to read the next line. That's it. Closing that loop. So let's see. This loop, discovering a simple way to flip domain names for profit. This closes the first loop. The domain flipping strategy Bob used is called the expired domain trick. That closes this first loop. Now the person in their mind, they're like, okay, cool. That I know now what the simple way is, or at least what it's called. The second open loop is this. Want to know what free piece of software Bob used, which, I talk more about the software up here, using a really cool piece of free software. He was able to find a domain name that recently expired, and it was a perfect match for hundreds of businesses around the country. Want to know what that free piece of software is? It's really cool. I'll share that on the next page. That's an open loop. The only way they can close that loop is by clicking. And that's really what you want right there. You want the intrigue and the curiosity to be, and right here, anticipation and desire. You want that to be so high that they just mentally have to click the link to be able to satisfy themselves. So that's what an open loop is. It's really it's very simple if you just think about it as a cliffhanger. Everybody kind of knows what a cliffhanger is, so it's the same exact thing. So here's the second page of the template or of your site. You're going to close that second loop. So you're really going to continue that conversation going back here.